Have any of you ever been in that position before where you're standing on the first tee, not knowing the ball's going to go, your hips aren't warmed up, your shoulders aren't as supple enough to go? Okay, so the first fall that I always see when people try and hit the ball too hard is they shift too much pressure on their front foot and their body doesn't turn properly. So anyway, I'm going to highlight to you the principles of pressure shift and body rotation in the downswing and how that's going to make you improve your golf, or hope to point you in the right direction to improve your golf. As I've said before, if you've got any thoughts on previous videos, make sure you comment below, and any other comments on videos, or any other topics you want me to discuss, and any other thoughts on videos, okay? Feedback is key. So, number one fault I see in golf, okay? I will just chuck this sticker to the side there. The greenkeepers are cutting at the moment, so I can't really hit any balls until later on, but I'll do this briefly. So, the first question I always ask one golf or somebody is, how much pressure do you think you should shift forward? Okay, so what they'll do is they'll get to the top of the backswing and they'll say, oh, I shift pressure before my hands start to get to the top of the backswing, okay, meaning they feel that they shift their weight left before they obviously reach the top of the backswing. But a lot of people think too much about how much pressure they need to shift, but they don't pay much attention to body rotation, okay? So the question I get asked is, when do I shift my weight, why do I shift my weight, and how much do I shift my weight, okay? So if I was to get to the top of the backswing and I shift too much weight, then what tends to happen is if people shift too much weight, this lead hip gets a little bit too high in almost this position, so they slide too far forward. What that does to my upper body is it keeps the upper body too far behind the ball. It creates too much right bend on the way back, okay? And then from there, for me to get back into this position, then I have to create a lot of left bend to get down and impact, and that's where I'm going to create a lot of inconsistencies to get ahead of the golf ball, hit the ground before the ball. So what you need to try and focus today is, we want to shift as much pressure as we rotate, okay? If you follow my videos on Instagram, I've done a brief insight in this earlier in the week where my goal is, if I get to the top of the backswing, if I shift pressure, so say if I shift 20% of my pressure, I have to rotate 20%, okay? So think about that. So think about how much your body rotates, you have to add that into the pressure sequence or the pressure shift on the way back. So a lot of golfers I see get to the top of the backswing, okay, so they don't shift enough pressure, and if they don't shift enough pressure, their body kind of swings over the top, so their shoulders rotate too much, their hips don't rotate enough, if that makes sense. And that's where the path's going to go out to the left. So if you think another way as well, if I shift too much pressure, see how my shoulders get in a closed position there, and that's where I'm going to get the club too much from the inside, and I'm going to create a lot of errors. So what we need to do is we need to get up to the top of that swing and we set the club up, okay? So we shift our weight left and keep turning left. So if we shift our weight left, it's really important we need to turn the body. I never see anybody set up to the golf ball, get to the top of the backswing. I've never heard of anyone before that's had too much rotation, okay? So people don't rotate enough, so I've never seen somebody slice the ball with too much rotation. It's all because of a lack of rotation, a lack of pressure shift on the way back, okay? So number one fault I see is when people get to the top, slide the hips forward, body stays back, and then they can't really get the shoulders to catch up lower body, and that's where they have to make a last ditch attempt to swing over the top. So fault number two, get to the top of that swing, upper body turns too much, hips don't turn enough, and then that's where you're going to swing over the top, okay? So get to the top of the back swing, as my hips go forward, I should rotate, okay? So if my hip rotates 40, say my left hip rotates 5 degrees, my shoulders should rotate as much as that, okay? So it's just trying to get into the habit where if I shift pressure forward, my shoulders have to rotate. So I never see anyone rotate too much on the downswing. It's a lack of rotation, and that lack of rotation is created by a lack of pressure shift, okay? So think about keeping it really simple. 2 tips. So when I get to the backswing, my first thought should be transferring weight into this left foot. But I've got to shift weight forward, then rotate, okay? So I see quite a lot of golfers who rotate this left hip, but they don't think about the right hip. So the right hip's the power creator in the downswing. So they get to the top of that swing, rotate the left hip, the upper body stays back, this lead shoulder gets too high, and as I was saying, they create too much tilt on the way through. So you need to feel like the right side gets through as well. So get to the top of that swing, left hip clears, we create pressure forward, the right side should just come through as the left hip rotates. So think about hitting it hard with the right side, only if you clear the left hip. You don't want to hit hard with the right hip straight away, because that can create a path to the left and a lot of inconsistency. So into the top of the backswing, left hip clears, but we're rotating at the same time. Okay, we don't want to get the hips going forward and leave the body back. Think about the body and the hips turn. So we're shifting pressure forward to this lead foot, but we're shifting pressure although we're rotating forward. Okay, so think about, I'm not necessarily taking an element out, I'm adding an element in. So this is just a bit of application to try and get you guys in the right direction. So if I set up the ball, then I have to try and feel like I'm shifting pressure left while rotating at the same time. I don't want to get to top, shift pressure, don't rotate, and then from there my shoulder's in a closed position. So let's try that. So I'm shifting pressure forward, left hip turns, pressure goes into the heel. So this is actually the first sort of golf balls I've hit in a few weeks, just not had the time. So left hip turns, and also feel like my lead hip stays down through impact. If I get top of the back swing and then this lead hip, so if I get here and then from there the lead hip gets high, it's not going to turn my body. It's good for hitting driver when we want to keep the weight slightly behind it, but keep the lead hip down, it's able to enabling us to rotate our hips through impact and create a bit more pressure on this front foot. Try again. So remember, shifting pressure and going left. So shifting pressure, then rotating. So think about getting the left hip to rotate round the left heel, but as long as the body moves forward. And as we're coming through, get the chest to almost be slightly over your left foot. To the moon, so we'll hit the last couple of shots. Try again, pressure left, rotate. We're not keeping pressure back then rotating, we're getting as much pressure forward as much rotation, okay? You might start hitting left to start off with, just because we're obviously trying to exaggerate the over rotation. So if you've got any thoughts on that video, make sure you post your comments below in the box below. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel at Jamie Allen Golf. Any other thoughts on any other previous videos, just a bit of feedback, more videos you want me to produce in the next few weeks, and what you're struggling with. Let you know your strengths and your weaknesses of your game and other facets that are important to you. And make sure you post your comments below and subscribe to the channel, and also follow me on other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, under Jamie Allen Golf. Thanks.